Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents G.I. Joe Tuesday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the G.I. Joe Classified Series number 118, The Iron Grenadiers Metalhead. Let's get into it! Let's start things off with a look at the packaging. And here on the top, we've got Cobra number 118 and a bit of a window, a hook. But this window lets light in from the top and it continues around to the front. And there we have a nice big window showcasing the figure and accessories. Warning, don't stick things in your pie hole that do not belong there. 4 and up, and assortment number. And then you got a good view of everything in the package. Some artwork of Metalhead. Cobra, Iron Grenadiers, G.I. Joe Classified Series, it's not embossed. Cobra, Metalhead, Hasbro. On the bottom, small print, fine print, legalese print, made in China print, symbols I'm not going to learn, and a barcode. On this side, some nice artwork of Metalhead, G.I. Joe Classified Series number 118. Then on this side, we've got Cobra, and then we got Metalhead again, number 118. And here is a QR code that should take you to something meaningful about the character, but instead it just takes you more than likely to shop.hasbro.com. And then here is his skill set, Cobra, G.I. Joe Classified Series. On the back, number 118, Cobra. Then we've got a nice practical photography shot of Metalhead with an explosion behind him. It looks like a plane or space shuttle or something falling. And who is that? Is that Big Boa? It is, I think. Maybe not. But somebody riding the space shuttle or train. Oh, it's a train. Yeah, there we go. Because I see tracks there. So it's like a bullet train. And then something exploded back there and it's derailed. But anyway, and then we've got some nice close-ups of some of the features of the character. Again, we have his skill sets. Cobra, Metalhead. ParentsGIJoe.com includes figure and 28 pieces. Warning, attention, Octoon, don't stick things in any language pie hole that don't belong there. Don't give it to babies. Attention, especially don't stick things in your French pie hole. Small fine legalese made in China print and Hasbro print. That, my friends, completes our look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessories. And we'll start off with accessories. Here we have handy dandy tweezers. So we can take a look at some of the smaller stuff. And here we have what is fast becoming the enemy's primary weapon, or at least secondary weapon. It comes with most enemy people now, whether it be Cobra or Iron Grenadiers. So this one molded in black plastic, and then it's got this nice little paint app on it here that just gives it a little bit of color to stand out. And I keep bumping the camera, I apologize. And then here we have a port on the end for a muzzle effect, and the ammo magazine is removable. And here's another that's becoming a little bit of a standard for Classified Series, especially for Cobra or Iron Grenadiers. Of course, this is the only Iron Grenadier we've got so far, so. But it does have some nice looking details in it, molded in black plastic. Again, it's got this piece right here that has just a little splash of color on it to just help it stand out a little bit. And you know, it's got rifle shooting, it's got grenade launching, and it's got ports for blast effects in both, so that's cool. and the magazine also is removable. I think we first saw this with the Viper 3-pack, I think. So next up we have his backpack for missiles, and you have to look at it and say it does have a lot of details, you know, even on the inside here where it really doesn't need them. You know, lots of details. Got a post right here and 2 ports. It's got some nice silver paint apps on the ends, and then you can pretty much say the same thing about the backside here. Just lots of nice molded detail, and it's all molded in black plastic. Now the launchers themselves are on some hinges and balls, so there's all kinds of rotating and moving up and down and stuff. And then there's another joint right here, so it can go up and down, and oops, it popped out. So just pop it back in there, and of course it can rotate as well. And here's the missiles that, I don't think these are the missiles that go in it. I thought these were the missiles that go in it. Yeah, these got to be. Although they won't just like fit in it, it looks like. So that's a little disappointing that the missile that goes in it doesn't even fit in it unless I'm doing something wrong. Yeah, it does not fit. But what it does do is has these exhaust effects, and then a port in the back of the missile, and so he's shooting the missiles, and same thing on the other side as well. I really thought those missiles went in there. And then so that's launching now. Now next up we have his thigh launchers, and you can see they've got a ball pit in there, I guess you could call it, and then on these straps on his thighs he has, you know, a half dumbbell joint there, and these just post on it. And these are the missiles that go with this one, and they do fit, they don't stay. So there is that. That's not great. And I'll probably put them backwards. So anyway, it goes, and so it kind of stays in there. But it really looks like it ought to go the other way. I don't know. So both of those missiles go in there, and they kind of sort of stay, but not real great. And again, they have these exhaust effect pieces, and you can see they're 2 different sizes. So and it looks like they can peg in that way so that the missile can be in there and it's kind of shooting out, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, they post in just like the others. And then port in the back of the missile. Goes on that post on the end of it. And that's that. So, and then we have these hose pieces, and there's one for each launcher. And pretty much how these work is there's a little bitty port right in between these 2 exhaust areas, and there's a little bitty post on the hose, and I think I got it right. I might not. it might go, this end might go. But then the other end of the hose connects into the backpack, and there's another one that's exactly the same. It just goes on the other side, so I won't waste your time going over that. He does come with a wig. Actually, he comes with 2 wigs. He's wearing one right now. So it does have lots of nice molded detail in there, and you can see how it fits on its head. And also you pull both wigs off and you can give him this helmet, or you can use this helmet to make an army builder out of him, I suppose. Well, let's take a look at the figure himself. And I have to say, you know, it's kind of a neat look. The visor piece there with the targeting reticle and readouts and stuff on it. So that's kind of cool. And it is attached to this wig. So no goggles with the other wig. And you can see this one has a bit of a more windswept look. He's got a nice overlay here, and I forgot to pull this out. So he does come with a knife molded in black plastic. Nice silver paint app for the blade. And then up here on this neck guard, I guess, got Cold Slither, and then some marks of, I guess, where he, you know, it's his tally marks, I suppose. But Cold Slither being the band that the Dreadnoks had when they were hypnotizing people with their music. Destro's Iron Grenadiers logo right there on his arm. So nice gold tampo. And it's pretty shiny too. And then, you know, some paint apps going on. It looks like under the overlay, so that's neat. And then some on these thigh overlays, the knee pads, and then some right here striped behind his shoelaces. And nice silver paint app right here on the back of the overlay in black here, and some silver over here. And you can see these 2 posts right here in this port will match up with the backpack. So that's kind of cool. And I'm sure you all know how the wigs and stuff work with Joe's now, but basically you just remove it and you can see how it goes on. And then you can see he's got a nice little tattoo right there that I missed, and I didn't even talk about the face, did I? So he's got some nice deco for the eyes, nice paint for the teeth, goatee, and eyebrows. So that looks pretty cool. And this is what he looks like with the helmet. So with the goatee, so maybe not so much of an army builder, but that looks cool. And then, you know, the other wig goes on, just slides on there. It is kind of a windswept look as well. And although I like the helmet, I think this looks the coolest. Of course, that's my opinion. Well, let's take a look at the articulation. He can look up that high. He can look down that far, and he's on that standard classified neck workings with a ball at the bottom and a dumbbell at the top. So he's got chicken neck, he's got waggle, he can do the full exorcist. Butterfly in the shoulder, goes back that far, forward that far, rotates 360 degrees, and lifts up approximately 90. Cut at the upper bicep for another 360 degrees of rotation. Double hinged pinless elbow. Right now, I know I broke you loose. Come on. There we go. Gives you that much bend. 360 degrees of rotation at the wrist on an in and out hinge. And then the other side is an up and down hinge. So that's pretty cool. Under the overlay, Looks like he's got that standard ab hinge, and that's coupled with a cut at the waist that has a half dumbbell or ball joint in there. And in conjunction, he can lean back that far, forward that far. The overlay does hinder it just a little bit. He's got some hula. He can rotate 360 degrees, and he can lean left and right just barely. At the hips, it does have a pull down hinge, but he only gives you that much of the splits. Kicks forward that far, not quite 90 degrees, and back about half a step maybe. Cut at the upper thigh, gives you a full 360 degrees rotation there. Double hinge pinless knee. That, even though I broke it loose, it's still really tight. Gives you that much bend. Then at the mid shin, there's a boot cut for another 360 degrees of rotation. At the ankle, tilts down that far, tilts up that far, and he has forward facing pin for rocker. Now, let me fix this real quick, since I put it in there backwards. And this side as well. And we'll come back to that in just a minute. For the leg launchers, you know, I've got this one all put together, and it just kind of pops on there. It doesn't make a popping sound though, so that's a thing. Oops, hose fell off. We'll get it back on in a minute. And then here's the one that goes on the other side, and pretty much the same. And they don't want to follow the ball very well, so it's putting, every time I move it, it's putting some stress on this peg. This side, not quite as bad, so it might need some oil or something in there to help it out with that issue. And again, the backpack, you can see the 2 posts here and the port, 2 ports and a post, and it pretty much is molded to fit very tightly on there, and it does. So there's that. So that's pretty cool. So I may have had this backwards. So there's 3 ports under here. I don't know what that 3rd port was for, but this port is for the hose, and then the other end goes in a port in between these 2 ports. And then same thing on this side. Set the opposite side ports. So there. And there. So it may take you a little bit of time to get this guy posed out properly with all these crazy missiles going on around and stuff, but there you have it, my friends. There's a look at Metalhead and his accessories. And you don't want to stand up now. There we go. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the G.I. Joe Classified Series Iron Grenadiers Metalhead with the G.I. Joe Classified Series Scrap Iron with Anti-Tank Drone. Here we have the G.I. Joe Classified Series Iron Grenadiers Metalhead with the Valaverse Action Force Special Deployment Series Swarm Sentry and the Valaverse Action Force Scarab. For our final set of comparisons, here we have the G.I. Joe Classified Series Iron Grenadiers Metalhead, with from the Marvel Legends series making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee. From the G.I. Joe Classified Series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander. From Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper. And for a 7-inch scale comparison, from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on the G.I. Joe Classified Series Iron Grenadiers Metalhead, I have to say, I like the look of this figure, even as ridiculous as it is. And, I like the Cold Slither throwback deco on his armor. That's cool. And, all the blast effects and stuff. Or exhaust effects, whatever you want to call it. That's all cool. But I would have liked for all the missiles to fit in their respective places and stay there. Instead of really, you pretty much have to display it like this if you're using the missiles. And, that's a bit of a drawback. And there are things you can do to alleviate that somewhat, but you really shouldn't have to. This is things that should have been fixed in pre-production before this thing ever went on the line, or when they got the first samples back. Oh, the missiles don't fit or they don't stay in. Let's get that fixed. So those are the negatives on this. And as far as this character goes, I'm vaguely familiar with it from the little bit that I've seen the DIC cartoon. And, that's not the best portrayal of G.I. Joe. At least in my opinion. Your mileage, of course, may vary. But overall, this guy is okay. It's not the greatest. Unless you're a DIC cartoon fan or a Metalhead fan or just an Iron Grenadiers focused collector. This one may not necessarily be for you. If you're a completionist, my apologies to you, because that's trying to be a completionist these days is not the best way to spend your time, at least in my opinion. Again, your mileage may vary, but if that's your thing, then go for it. But for me, I don't know, this guy could have been a pass. I saw him, I originally passed on the pre-orders for it. I did see it in GameStop, and I thought, oh, that looks kind of cool. Let me kick the tires on it and see how I like it. And again, it's an okay figure. I don't feel like, at least for me, it wasn't a must-have. I could have passed on it. But again, if this character appeals to you, or that cartoon, was your version of G.I. Joe, then, you know, by all means, I'm not here to dictate to you what you should and should not collect. But for me, I mean, it's okay. It'll look cool in the display, but it could have been a pass. I probably should have went with my initial, you know, of not ordering the pre-order and passed on it in the store. But sometimes, you know, you see something in the store and you're like, oh, that looks really cool. And that's, you know, that's what I did. And again, you know, this guy might appeal to you. I feel like it could have been a pass for me and should have been a pass for me, but I do like the wig piece with the goggles on it. The helmet is kind of cool too, and probably makes more sense than not wearing a helmet with, you know, firing missiles that close to yourself. And it seems like he maybe should be wearing a little more armor to protect against the exhaust, but, you know, it's make-believe. So there is that. Well, that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I'm now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you were in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content, or just help the channel grow, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.